guys, I'm back again for another Flosstube video. This is going to be more of kind of a special edition Flosstube. I was gonna wait to do this video, but when I looked at my schedule, this video probably wouldn't happen until the end of January. So I had time to do it today, so I just gonna do it. So yeah, I'm going to show you all of my finishes from pretty much the inception of my stitching. But I would say most of these are from, I would say like 90%, 95% are probably from the last 15 years. And I would say like 50% of those are from the last 6 years. You know, I, like a lot of people, when you go to university or you go to post-secondary school, you spend, you know, all your time studying and working and having a social life. So I kind of dabbled in stitching, but I didn't really, it wasn't really kind of a priority for me during that time. And then before I had kids, I would stitch a little bit, but I mean, I was, up until I had my daughter, I was working like 70 hours a week, which, you know, doesn't leave time for stitching. And it was crazy. And I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. So now that I've had kids, I took a few years off when I had my kids, and now I only work part-time. So now I have kind of more time to stitch. We have guests joining us. If there's some commotion, I apologize. They're seeing all the framed pieces around and I'm like, what the heck are you doing? Anyway, I may have to pause to scoot them out. And by guests, I mean my cats. So yeah, so most of these finishes are from the last 6 years, I would say. But I have a few from like my teenage years. I think I have 2 that I finished, actually finished in my teens. I did a whole bunch of projects in my teens that I didn't finish and they're gone. Like I only have the one that I showed in my other video, the teddy bear piece. So yeah, I did try to film this video with everything on the wall so that I didn't have to take everything down. And the lighting, yeah, the lighting just wasn't working. All you could see is basically a glare and me, the reflection of myself. You couldn't really see the piece. So what I'm going to do is I'll probably pause so I can kind of reshuffle everything around. So you might see some like pausing and editing so that you're not having to watch me move stuff. So yeah, I guess I'll just jump into my first piece. So I have all of my cross stitch pieces from when I started stitching, except for one. I gave one away as a gift. I'm actually missing one I forgot to bring. Anyways, I'll show that in another video. Yeah, so I stitched one ornament this year and I gave it away as a gift. This is the first time I've ever given anything away. I'll insert a picture of it here. And I don't know if I'm alone in this, but I have a really hard time giving stitching away. Now, ornaments and things are fine. That was actually kind of big for an ornament, but like larger pieces, you know, even to family, I think I would have a hard time giving my stitching away. That probably sounds awful. Yeah, so typically what I do is I stitch mostly for my kids, with my kids in mind. I don't mind stitching for them because it's still in my house. But one day, you know, when they move out, I'll be more than willing to give it to them to take with them if they want it. Yeah, so that's the first one I'll show you. That was a gift. Sorry, I'm just sifting through the pile. And if you watched me before, you've probably seen most of these, so you guys may not want to continue watching. I don't know. There's probably about 15 or 16 pieces. I kind of thought about kind of sprinkling finishes through my update videos, but I know when I did videos before, I just had so much other stuff to show that I didn't want to do that because it just make the video too long. So that's why I'm just kind of doing it all at once. But yeah, if you watch my other videos before, you've probably seen most of these. There's probably about 15 or 16 things that, you know, you may not have seen. But yeah, these are my ornaments. This is a Mill Hill ornament. It's like, it came with perforated paper, but I like to stitch my Mill Hills on fabric, and then I just finished it. This is like a hard finish. It's not like a sewn finish. So there's that one. And then there's this one, again, another Mill Hill. That's the back. This one, I used scrapbook paper. So I cut this out with my Cricut, and then I used scrapbook paper to put on the back. And then to basically protect the paper, I'm just looking for it to see if it's handy. Sorry, excuse me. This. Then I put this on it to seal it. It just protects it from moisture, and it just acts to protect the paper, because paper is pretty like, obviously if you pour water on this, it's not gonna protect it. But this is a oh, I'm gonna butcher the name. Le Produce Perzan. It's a Veronica and Jange pattern. You can find her on Etsy. It's from, I think, it's either one of her Christmas patterns, or it's from her cat Christmas one. I can't remember. But it's a little cat on a sled. And this is another Mill Hill. And all of these ornaments, I just did like Ruche Ribbon. I took an ornament finishing class at my, it's not really local to me. It's about an hour and 15 minutes away, but it's technically my LNS. And I paid to take a class. And I would encourage, if you have an LNS and they have like a finishing class, I found it very, very useful. All the tips that we got. There's that one, another Mill Hill. And here's another one. Again, I just used my Cricut to cut out some of these shapes. This isn't cross stitch, this is felt. It's from a Bucella felt kit. And I think there's like 6 ornaments in this felt kit. I've only done one, but it was really fun. I enjoyed doing that. So those are like my ornaments. I have one other ornament that I'll show in another video that I didn't bring in. It's like it's a little Margaret Sherry ornament. And then this was my very first pillow finish that I did. This is, I have to apologize. I'm gonna go blank on some of the names of these patterns and some of the conversions. I know there's conversions and I cannot remember who I got the conversions from. I will do my best to remember, but this is Bent Creek, and I think it's Educated, and I changed the colors of the books, and then I just did a little pillow finish, and then I ironed the pillow to give it kind of a more flatter look. And then this one's not FFO'd yet, but this one is Plum Street Samplers, yeah, Raccoon Rabble. I should know this one. I just finished this one this year. So that's really cute. This little guy is really cute. He was a pain to stitch. He's stitched over one. What else? Maybe I'll get some of these bigger ones. These are some of my stockings that I stitched. I stitched this one for my son. And this was a Design Works kit. And I subbed out. I used all the floss and the beads and stuff that came in the kit, but I switched up the fabric. And that's the back. I used Nell from Little Yellow House Crafts. I used her tutorial. And then this was my daughter's. And I stitched this one for my daughter because it looks like our cat, Lucky Chance. And he is really her cat. Again, I did the quilted back. What was the name of this one? It was a Dimensions Gold kit. I can't remember the name. And then this one, so I have a cat themed Christmas tree that I put up in our basement every year for Christmas. And if you kind of know kind of my style for Christmas, I love like tacky Christmas. All my trees are more kind of, I don't know, tacky sounds kind of like a derogatory term, but it is kind of tacky. I think a lot of you watching are going to look at this and think, oh my gosh, that's so tacky. And it is, and I love it. This is a tree skirt that I stitched for that cat, or for that tree, sorry. And I'm trying to get it so that I can, I'll have to go back. It's, again, a Design Works kit. And it's on, I think it's 10 count maybe, but super cute. I did not follow a tutorial. I just kind of muffled through the instructions in the kit and made some modifications because I didn't think the kit instructions were very, what's the word? Like they didn't have any instructions like to finish this edge, and they didn't say, oh, put trim on or anything. They basically just said like, turn this edge over and like leave this edge raw. It was, yeah, I just froofed it up a bit to make it look a little prettier. What else? Oh, I just realized I forgot another one. I may pause and go get them while I'm doing this. This was a quilt that I stitched for my son, and I stitched this when I was pregnant. This was really the only thing I was stitching on, mainly because, it's a stamp cross stitch kit, and I mainly stuck to stamp cross stitch because I was so sick with my son, so sick, and I just couldn't focus on like looking at like tiny holes to stitch. So I stitched a stamp cross stitch, so it was easier to see. And again, I'm gonna have to go way back. It was a Bucilla kit, and I think it was called God Bless Babies, and it's basically kind of a Noah's Ark theme, but it had teddy bears, and I love teddy bears. That's that one. And then I also stitched, I wasn't quite as sick with my daughter, but I did also kind of resort to stitching on stamp cross stitch when I was pregnant with her. I also too found my belly got so big. I needed something. At the time I was using a stand, and I couldn't get the stand close enough because my belly was in the way. So this one was just easier to put on a hoop. And I don't know what this one was called, Sleeping Bunnies. Geez. I think it was called Sleeping Buddies. I know it was a Bucilla kit. There's that one. I found ever since having kids, my brain capacity has reduced greatly. Okay, what else do I have here? This one's like another small one. This one is Buttercup Designs. I have on my to-do list to do the other seasons. But this is the autumn one, and it's got cute little buttons on it. And then I just popped it in this little frame from Michael's. That one. Oh, I'm not telling you the fabrics, although I can't even remember what some of these fabrics were. This is by Tralala. It's still available. I don't know the name. I don't even know how to pronounce the name, but it's still available. I saw it on 123 Stitch the other day, so yeah, that one was pretty quick stitch. I made this frame. I just went and got some wood trim from Home Depot. I made it and then I put it back in a hook. I haven't been doing that really a whole lot lately because like wood trim is ridiculously expensive, like ridiculously expensive. So it's not really like all the work you put into making those. It's not really worth, you're not really getting a cost savings by doing that. So I haven't been doing that lately. This one is, I know this is a Blackbird design. I think it's Summer Berries. It was in, what book was it in? Fine Collection. And I just made it into a project bag. I liked it and I was like, oh, what am I going to do with this? And so I used Primitive Stitchers tutorial. There's tons of project bag tutorials, but that's the one I specifically used. But then I modified it for the boxed bottom so that it was a bit wider because I store my Christmas Village in here. There's that one. This one I haven't really even like fully finished because it's just sitting. It's not even like secured in the frame because it's popping out right now. There we go. Hopefully it's not all wonky yet. So there's this one. This is from a Lenart book. I think it's just called Vera Mouse. It's got a number of patterns in it. It has one of the mouse with like an owl and they're having like a tea party. And then it's got like a big sampler with all these different motifs. And this one was one of the ones there. And then I added, it kind of goes in the book, it goes to here, but I saw somebody do like a, like this, they did something like this on the, I saw it on Instagram. And so I did the same thing and add another bird because I didn't want to stitch the whole sampler and I just thought it was unfinished with just that. So there's that one. This is my Joyful World series, which I only have completed 2. And I was watching Craft and Chris the other day, and she said, oh, I need to get back to my Joyful World series. I'm like, oh yeah, I do too. So I have June done. And then I have April. So yeah, I may get back to it because these are small and they're pretty quick to stitch up. And too, it'd be nice to have it while my kids are young and can enjoy that, enjoy something like that. This is another finish that I did and another frame I made and stained. This is from Just Another Button Company. And I think I used all the call for. Yep, I used all the call for, even the fabric. I typically don't use the call for anything on patterns just because I usually pick out my own floss. I've been in Floss of the Month for years, so I just use the flosses that I have and the fabric that I have. This one is a Blackbird Designs. It's called Awake the Dawning Day, and I just got this. This was one of the frames at Michael's that have like a picture in it, and it's like a decor item. And this was red, and I think it has like a really creepy looking rooster. And I just painted this like this purpley color, and then I just stuck it in the middle there. So there's that one. Running out of places to put stuff. And this one is a Nora Corbett, Letters by Nora. And I think I used all the called for this too. I just told you I don't use the called for anything. This is another piece I used all the called for. And I made this frame. I basically just painted it like a white chalk paint, and then I like used like a iridescent, I don't know if you can see it, purple wax to kind of give it like an antiquing kind of look. But this was just like a trim from Home Depot. And then this one was a DMC kit. It's a Sarah K, it's from like the Sarah K. There's all these different pictures of little girls doing things, kind of like Holly Hobby, but I think it's called Sarah K. And this was a kit, and it came with this printed fabric. It's really cute. It's got kitties in it. It hangs in my daughter's room. Okay, what do I have down here? It's kind of fun looking at all of these because once you finish them and hang them up, you don't really kind of stop and look at them. They just hang in your house, right? This one is, and I want to pull this apart and redo it. This is Blackbird Designs Strawberry Garden. And I made it a bit brighter. I brightened it up from the called for floss that was in the pattern. And I got this frame from Value Village. But I had a heck of a time trying to get this border straight. And my friend Kim actually gave me a tip to do like a running stitch along one, like one fabric thread. I don't know what you call that, like the weave in the fabric, do like a running stitch and then line the running stitch up with like the top of your mat board. So I think I'm gonna take this apart and try it. I mean, it's not too bad, but it just kind of looks a little wonky up here. What is this one? This one is another Nora Corbett, Solar Ellipse. This Solar Ellipse. It's from the Moth series that she did. And I stitched it on a hand-dyed by, I always say Rolanda. Is it Rolanda or Rolanda? Maybe I should say Rolanda. Because I know I get really, really peeved off when people and everyone does it, mispronounce my daughter's name. I'm like, phonics people, look at the phonetic pronunciation of her name, and no one ever does. So I apologize. I think it's Rolanda. Anyways, I'm going to say Rolanda now. I always said Rolanda, but Londa would be Lawnda, right? R-O, yeah. Anyways, I digress. This is on a hand-dyed by Rolanda fabric. And this I think took me like 6 days to stitch. It was really, really quick. If you are looking to kind of dive into the world of Mirabilia, and you're not sure because they're big projects, you may want to start with one of these pixies because they take like no time to stitch up. And then you can see if you actually like stitching those types of patterns. This is Sweet Bee by Nora Corbett. Again, this is on a hand-dyed by Rolanda fabric. And I just got this frame at Michael's and did it myself. So she's pretty. They had some like weird little thing right here that I didn't put in because I was like, it just seemed kind of out of place. What is this? Okay, so I am stitching, I love to stitch animals. I have a ton of wildlife pictures in my stash. And so I'm stitching animals for my son. And when he leaves home, he'll have like a collection of art to take with him. And this was the first one I ever stitched for him. This is called a mother's, I think it's a Mother's Affection. I got the pattern out of a cross stitch collection magazine, but I'm pretty sure you can go to, it's by Jane Netley Mayhew. You can go to her website and pay for a PDF copy. But I love stitching this. Oh, there's the ring light. I always get asked, even by non-stitchers, like, oh, do you like stitching all that brown? I actually really do. I find it really relaxing, stitching wildlife pieces and all the earth tones. This one is a pretty old piece. I'm trying to think. I don't even remember when I stitched this. This is a Margaret Sherry piece from, well, this section is from a really, really old cross stitcher magazine, back before cross stitcher kind of changed their format. They used to be more like kind of like the World of Cross Stitching, or like Cross Stitch Crazy, and then they kind of switched their format and they have like kind of different style patterns to what they did in the past. And then I got this conversion. This is basically this mouse, and this mouse is just the mirror image. I got this conversion off of someone in a blog. So yeah, it's really cute. This piece is pretty old. I finished this when I think I was 14 or 15, and it's in my daughter's room now. It is a Busilicate, and I think I did use all of the call for, because at the time that's what I had. And I don't remember the name of it though. I can just see the front of the kit cover, and I can see the Bucilla, but I can't remember the name of it. But it was fun to stitch. It's not quite full coverage, but okay. This one is my son's birth sampler. It's a dimensions kit. You can still get this. I can't quite remember the name of it, but I think you can still get it on 123 Stitch. And then this was my daughter's. I'm just putting that paper there to cover up their birth date. This was my daughter's birth sampler, and it matches her quilt. I looked at the one, I did have the matching one for my son, but I didn't like it, so I just picked another one. In hindsight, I kind of wish I would have stitched a birth sampler that was kind of more, less babyish. I know Just Nan has a few band samplers that are baby samplers, but I think it would have, I don't know, I think it could have carried on to, like, I don't want to say they're adult ears because it's still a baby sampler. I don't know, I wish I would have done something a little less babyish, but I mean, I'll still hang it in my house and keep it up. This one is a big one. I stitched this one for my daughter. This is a dimensions kit, and this one is called Afternoon Tea, and it's full coverage. And I believe this one went out of print, but I'm pretty sure that they re-released this kit in Russia. If you are looking for a dimensions kit, and it's gone out of print in the US, a lot of times they'll re-release Dimensions kit in Russia, because Dimensions is like very, very popular over there. I really wanted the Dimensions kit with the Santa with all the kitties and the puppies. He's sleeping and there's kitties and puppies, but it went out of print here like a while ago, and then it re-released just recently in Russia, so I ordered it from there. This one is called Sweet Dreams by Lavender and Lace. And this one's, I think, stitched on a just a raw linen. guys. This one is a Mirabilia. And this one is out of print. This is Sleeping Beauty. And this was actually one of the first Mirabilia patterns I ever purchased. Not the first Mirabilia I stitched, but one of the first. I think it was the first pattern that I purchased. She was so much fun to stitch. I love stitching her. I think I stitched this on smoky pearl linen. Okay, this one is a big one. Sorry guys. This one is very big. And I stitched this in my teens, but I didn't get it framed until I think in my 30s. It just kind of sat in a box, and then I finally got it framed. This is a Bucilla kit called the Lineup. And I stitched this in my teens because this little girl right here in the middle reminded me of my niece. She looks just like her. And she has mild cerebral palsy, and so she always walked on her tiptoes, and we were always trying to get her to flatten her feet. I know a lot of kids walk on their tiptoes, but she did it for other reasons. Just reminded me of her because, you know, the ballerinas go on their tiptoes. She's 30, I think. Did she turn 31 this year? Anyway, she's all grown up now. This one is another Mirabilia. Sorry guys, there's going to be a whole run of Mirabilias. So if you're not into Mirabilias, you may want to fast forward. This one, oh, jeez, I just smacked myself in the face. This one is Stargazer by Mirabilia. And again, I stitched her on hand-dyed by Rolanda fabric. And I wish this would have been a bit darker because you can still see it, but it's not as pronounced as if it would have been on a dark fabric. I think it's supposed to be sort of on kind of like a night sky fabric. Although no, I think the model was on like a beige fabric. Yeah, I think it was on a beige fabric. Anyway, she's really pretty. Love stitching her. She has a ton of beads. But yeah, I love that piece. And I gotta be careful because I'm wearing my microphone and it's attached to my camera. Because when I watched my other video back, I noticed my voice was really quiet. And I'm like, I'm sure somebody's gonna say, I couldn't hear you. And I apologize. I have like a very naturally kind of soft voice. Like my kids laugh at me when I yell at them because even my yelling isn't really that loud. It's not really yelling. This one is another lavender lace called Little Wings. And I have a really sad story with this one. I started stitching this one, when was it? 2008. And I went to, we used to have a crosset store in the city. I don't live in the city, I actually live in the country, but the closest city that the closest city to me, we had a cross-stitch store, and it's now since shut down. And at the time, when I would go to an LMS and buy fabric, I would just trust that the person there would cut it properly and do all the margins, and because you know, I just would give them the pattern. I'm like, I want the fabric for this. Cut me a piece of this, right? And so the lady cut me a piece of fabric, but then she cut it to the size of the design. I'm like, you own a cross-stitch store. You should know that you have to add margin. So anyways, I just started stitching, and then I got to the point where I think I had all of this done. And I started to get to here, and I'm like, I'm not gonna have enough fabric. So I sat and I counted out the holes, and sure enough, it went like right to here. So I remember I was sitting out on our deck with my husband. I remember saying a few choice words and stomping inside. I was so mad. So since then, I've learned to calculate my own cross stitch fabric. Okay, another lavender lace. Man, these are heavy. This is called The Wedding. And this is, I said in my last video, I stitched a piece on MCG textile linen and it was a nightmare. This is the piece. This is on the dreaded MCG textile linen. I still love this. Again, I got asked the question, oh my goodness, how did you stitch all that white? I do have to say I'm not a big fan of stitching white, but the end result of this I was really pleased with. Sorry, I just lost my light. Sorry, real life people. Okay, another Mirabilia. This is Sabrina. And again, I had another like cry my eyes out moment with this. So once upon a time when I didn't use hand-dyed linen, I used to wash my pieces. And I didn't realize that silks aren't color fast. So these all bled. But if you actually look at it, it kind of looks like the flowers are glowing. So I don't know if you can see. So I actually don't mind the effect of it. At the time, I was like panicking when I put it in water and it started to bleed. And I quickly took it out and just laid it flat and just patted it so that it would dry. So yeah, I love stitching that. Okay, and then I stitched the companion piece. Oh, I'm not focusing. There we go. This is, I always call it Portrait of Elizabeth. It's not Portrait of Elizabeth, it's Portrait of Veronica. But I was gonna say Portrait of Elizabeth. This Portrait of Veronica by Mirabilia. Again, love stitching this. And I know I've heard people on Flosstube say that they're intimidated by these. I know, is it Cross by Floss? Cross. She does Mirror Mondays. She said, oh, I love them, but for years I was so intimidated by those projects. They're really just big chunks of stitching. There's nothing really special about them. You know, there's sections where you can just outline and then just fill in, and then you go to the next section where you outline and fill in. So they're pretty easy to stitch. So I wouldn't be intimidated if that's something you're wanting to stitch. I'm just gonna reach over here. And then this one, I would say this one is my biggest, the biggest piece I have finished, and it's pretty heavy. I'm gonna have to, it's a full coverage piece. Ugh. I'll come in a minute. This is called A Summer Ball. Sandy, geez, what's her name? Sandy Littlejohn, I think her name is, and Deb Lester. And I got this pattern, I have no idea what I'm showing you guys, so I'm just gonna run it along. Hopefully you can actually see the piece. And now I'm gonna put it down because it weighs like 500 pounds. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so now, wow, 43 minutes. Sorry guys, this is a long one. So those are all of my finished pieces. And then I have like a stack of stuff that's just not finished yet. I'll show you a few of them. I've kind of gotten into stitching more smaller projects in the past the past few years. If you watch Made by Michelle McGraw, she's done like a whole year of smalls, and I'm so tempted to do that one year. The only problem is I don't really have a lot of, I have small kids, so I don't really have a lot of time to sit down and like actually finish these things. But this is one I just actually finished recently. This is Bent Creek, and it's called Kitty Cat Row. And I used pretty much none of the colorway that they use in the pattern. All the letters are a different color. The balls of wool are a different color. I think I copied some of the colors of the cats, but for the most part, it's just my own. I just picked my own colors. And then this piece, it's a funny story about this piece. So I literally had 5 stitches of the gold, and I'll show you, and the back stitching to do on this. And I put it down at the end of July of this year, and that's all I had to do left. Like, that's all I had to do on this piece, and I just put it down with 5 stitches and back stitching, and there's not really any back stitching on this piece. And I was like, what's wrong with me? Why didn't I just finish it? So I just did that the other day. This is Santa of the Forest by Lavender and Lace. And literally, I don't know if you can see, like literally over here, 5 stitches, and that was it. But this was my wildlife piece this year, because I always like to have a wildlife piece on the go for my son. This is another Tralala piece, and I think it's like Jolie Fleurs. And that's just like on a, I think it's a platinum linen. This is Brooks Books, Little Women. So I'm just going to go through these quickly because we're already at like 45 minutes. This was a Blackbird design. What is this? I know this is Blackbird design. I have the name of it on my Instagram. I just had just a total brain blank, and I stitched that this year. So this is another Blackbird design from a Fine Collection. That book. This one is Autumn Quaker by Rosewood Manor. Oh, and we're not focusing. Focus. There we go. This one was a really fun stitch. This is from the World of Cross Stitch. This was, I think it was just called Tiger Cushion. I don't think it had a fancy name or anything. And I love him. So I have a story about this, this guy here. So we live literally like 5 minutes from a zoo. Like, we live in the country, and the zoo is like literally like out in the middle of nowhere, and it has like everything. Like he'll bring in, they call it they broker animals from zoo brokers. I've never heard of that before, but we've become, you know, pretty good friends with the owners of the zoo, because we're there like in the summer. We're there almost like every other day. Some people take their kid up the road to the park. We take our kid up the road to the zoo. Anyway, there is a tiger there, and his name is Storm, and I always called this project Storm, I think, when I showed him in my previous videos. And he has like a spatial anxiety, where he doesn't like wide open spaces. So when you go in and you see him, he's like he has a decent amount of space, and it leads out into this massive, huge forest area with like a lake, and he won't ever go out there. He's afraid of like open spaces. So when he was younger, because he was born at that zoo, when he was younger, someone traumatized him, like a visitor to the zoo traumatized him with their, what do you call it, stroller. They rammed basically, there's like a barricade, like a fence barricade, and then there's his cage. So there's like basically, you're pretty close, like there's maybe only like, I would say like 6 feet in between that fence and then the actual cage. And this guy apparently just rammed his cage up and down, or he hit it against the fence to get a reaction out of Storm, and Storm like basically just lost it, and he roared at him and whatnot. But ever since then, he's terrified of strollers. So I remember every time I would take my son, because I didn't want to upset him, but my son was in a stroller, we would always carry our stroller in, because if you see him when he sees a stroller, he's just like, it's so sad. So we would carry our stroller, and I would cover it in a blanket, and then once we get past his cage, my husband would carry my son, I would hide the stroller, and then once we get past his cage, we would you know, take the stroller out. And I know on like the weekends when they have people come in with strollers, they usually have a volunteer that sits with him to keep him calm, because when he sees the strollers, he gets so upset. It's so sad. But anyways, he's my favorite animal at the zoo. I love him because you can actually, when you talk to him, he actually will come and look at you through the cage and go up and down, and he's a really nice tiger. This is Emma's Garden by Lavender and Lace, and I couldn't get the called for fabric for this. It was on Amsterdam blue, and then you were supposed to bleach the top to get like this yellow looking color. So what I did is I just contacted Kate at Sparklies, and she dyed this specifically for me. I gave her 2 Benjamin Moore color swatches, and I said, okay, I want this much of the fabric to be this color and this much to be this color, and she did it. Again, sorry, another Mirabilia. This one is Shimmering Mermaid, and it's on another hand dyed by Rolanda fabric. And then this one, I subbed out the fabric for this one. This was another Dimensions Gold stocking kit. And what is it called? Must be Saint Nick. And this one was quite a feat to stitch. There's a lot of color changes, and I don't know if you can see. Oh, it's gonna focus on. Focus. It's trying to focus on me. I'll put it up in front of my face and see. I don't know if you see this. This is all like cording. You basically couch down. It is like all through this piece, like all through it. It's like here. It's pretty much all in the garland. It's on the train. It's on the what do you call that thing? The rocking horse. So yeah, that one was. I started and finished that one this year, but I worked pretty consistently on it. It was pretty much the only thing I stitched on for a couple of months. This one is Ring Around the Rose Tree by Mirabilia. And there's some weird things in the pattern that I didn't like, so I switched. Like there was some, like in the vines, there were breaks in the stitches. There weren't, which kind of looked funny, so I just continued the vine. I think it's a pattern mistake though. I don't think it was supposed to be like that. And then my last one I did as a stitch along with Belinda from And It's Just a Cross Stitch. And I don't know what's happened to her. She's not on Instagram anymore or Flosstube. I hope she's okay. But we started this together in 2020. And this is a conversion, and I'm so sorry, I can't remember the name. If you go to my Instagram, I may have it, the name of the person who did this conversion. But if you go to the Mirabilia Facebook group, I think it was Mirror on the Wall, she posted the conversion in here. But the beads are my own conversion. This is Baker's Wife by Mirabilia. And the beads that she used in her conversion, you can't get anymore. I think they were, I'm trying to think of the brand. Anyway, I can't think of the brand, but if you go to her conversion, you won't be able to find the beads. But I don't even know what beads I used. I just pulled all my blues and grays, and I just said, oh, this looks good, I'll just use this. And I think even here, I don't even know if there's like consistency to what I used. And I don't even know what it was I used. I just kind of dumped them on the tacky bob and just kind of went away with it. But I love her. She's so pretty. In the original pattern, there's like this weird swaggy thing. I left it off because I didn't think it needed it. So I'm going to pause and come back, and I have 3 more finishes I'll show you, and then we'll be done. Just a second. Okay, I got my other 2 finishes. The last finish, I'm going to insert a clip because it's just too big to hold up, and it's easier if I just put a clip of it in. So this was the other ornament that I stitched. It's a little Margaret Sherry cat. This was like my first ornament. So, but I love it still. The thing with finishing is the more you do it and the more you practice, the better you get at it. So, and then this is an advent calendar that I stitched for my kids. There's boxes missing because it's Christmas and we're using it right now. So these little boxes basically come off, and I put like a little Hershey Kiss inside. I've had to take all the Hershey Kisses out because my son has been going in and taking them all, and my daughter has been just beside herself that she's not going to get a Hershey Kiss on the day she's supposed to get a Hershey Kiss. So to ease her anxiety, I took the Hershey Kisses out. They take the number off, and then they give it to me, and they get their kiss. I keep them up high in the cupboard. And also, I don't want my son to be like wired from eating so much sugar. So this was a, I don't know if I said this was a kit. I'm trying to think. It was from France, the kit, because everything was in French, and I ordered it from a seller on eBay. And she was in the UK, but everything was in French. So, yeah, I don't even know what to tell you what the name of the kit was. I think if you type in Winnie the Pooh Advent Calendar, you may be able to find it still. Okay, and then the last finish that I have, I'm going to insert the clip. It's of my Brooks Books Advent Calendar. I basically made a big wall hanging, and I made a big wall hanging, and then I cut out like different things on my Cricut to kind of decorate it with. It's a big tree. You'll see it in the video. Yeah, my kids stick it on. It's got magnets and washers, and they just stick it on the number every day. So I'll insert that here. Hey, I just thought I would film a clip of one of my finishes for my finish parade. This is the Brooks Books Advent Animal series. This is a free pattern, patterns put out by Brooks Books, and I stitched them and made basically a wall hanging to put them on. So just zoom in closer. I don't really remember the names of all of them. Basically what I did, I just kind of finished them like an ornament, and they attach with magnets. So every day my kids, find the day and they just put it up because they're magnetized. There's little magnetic pucks underneath the circle, and I cut out all those shapes and numbers with my Cricut. But yeah, I don't really remember the names of, I know they have like cute names. I think one's name is Ethan Elephant. I do remember that because it's my son's name. I think that was Peter Polar Bear, Leo Lion, Mary Mouse. I do remember that one. But they were so cute and so fun to stitch. I really enjoyed that. And then I personalized it, and I cut these presents out. They're made out of felt. This is actually material that's interfaced, and then I did like a felt overlay so that the present would have dimension. And then I sewed sequins and beads. And then I did like a little gift tag, and I put my daughter's name on it. And I did the same for my son. But yeah, this was really, really fun to stitch. And yeah, the star, I did the same. I just cut it out with my Cricut, and then I sewed beads and sequins. And then the tree, I just kind of freehand. I folded the felt in half, and then I did like a freehand on one side and cut it out so that it would be symmetrical on both sides. So yeah, that's my Brooks Books advent calendar. So yeah, that's all of my finishes. So yeah, I've enjoyed sharing those finishes with you. I hope you enjoyed watching my video. As far as kind of update videos, I'm hoping to come back maybe the end of January, fingers crossed, to film kind of like an update video. The next few weeks are going to be crazy with Christmas and just all the stuff going on. So yeah, if you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, happy holidays to you, and hopefully you have a safe and restful holiday. Take care.